What is up, my friends? My name is Evan and welcome to the very first episode of The Evan Zhang Show, where I talk about faith, religion, current affairs, and social issues. First of all, I want to say a happy Easter to every one of you and hope you guys are doing well in this period. Now, some of you might know me from another channel called Your Average Gents, where I talk about men's style, fashion, and confidence. But there are just so many things that I want to talk about, and that is why I created this channel. In today's video, I want to talk about a topic that is one of my favorites. That is the existence of God. And let's jump right into it. Now, it is an indisputable fact that either there is a God or there isn't a God. If there isn't a God, then we are all just floating through space mindlessly without a purpose and without a reason. Each man to his own, and you just can't say who's right or who's wrong. It is just basically your opinion against my opinion. And when we die, that's it. That is a pretty sad scenario if you ask me. But if there is a God, then we need to find out who He is and what He wants from us, and we need to find out about it ASAP, as soon as possible. You know, right now with this pandemic going on, everybody is pretty much freaking out a little bit. We have already seen almost 2 million people getting infected and more than 100,000 deaths. And who knows how many people will die before it stops. As bad as it seems, we are really ignoring the elephant in the room now. And that is, we all have a disease that has a 100% mortality rate. 10 out of 10 people die. I'll give you a second to guess it. Have you guessed it? And that disease is called death. And each day, approximately of 150,000 people die from this disease. And nobody's talking about it. Now, let's put this in perspective. That means every second, 17 people die. And by the time you finish watching this video, thousands of people would have already gone. Just like that. And nobody is freaking out about it. We are all just living as if we could live forever. We all like to think that we have lots of time, and we think that at least we could live up to 80 years old. But the truth is, nobody is gonna know when he or she is gonna die. We all like to think that we're gonna die when we are 80, when we are old, and when we are happy. That would be nice. But we could also die today or tomorrow. Nobody knows. If there's no God, then nothing we do today really matters, because after 100 years, you and me, we're no longer gonna exist. And after 1,000 years, 10,000 years, everything will be different. But if there is a God, then finding out who He is and what He wants should be our top priority. Now, I'm a logical person, right? I don't just believe in God or don't believe in God just because someone told me, my parents told me, my friends told me, or I watch a video on YouTube. I like to look at the reasons and the evidence behind why people believe in what they believe and make a logical and objective assessment on my own before believing in something. A lot of people believe or don't believe in God because of emotional reasons, right? For example, they have been brought up that way, and that is basically what they are told their whole life, and they don't question it. Some people, because all their friends believe in God, and they have this emotional association with believing in God, because if they don't believe, then they're gonna lose all their friends. On the other hand, some people may be atheists because they have been hurt or cheated by people who believe in God. Maybe they are forced to go to church when they are young by their parents and they don't like it. And some people may be atheists just simply because they don't like the idea of a God. They don't like to be judged and be held accountable for every single action that they do. Whatever the case, emotional reasons alone should not justify whether you believe or don't believe in God. It has to be grounded on something that is solid, that is rational, that is logical, regardless of emotions. It has to be grounded on facts, evidence, and logical reasoning. Just because your parents or your friends or even the society told you so doesn't mean that it is true. Just because you like an idea or you don't like an idea doesn't make it true or false. For example, if you're hurt by someone who's a Christian or who believes in God and you don't like it, it doesn't disprove God's existence. Just like if you're hurt by someone who is an atheist, you wouldn't say that atheism is false. And if you're hurt by someone who's a doctor or you just don't like doctor for some reason, you wouldn't say that, oh, then I don't believe in medicine and I'm not gonna go to a doctor when I get sick. I hope that's not the case. So now, where do I stand on this topic? Does God exist? That is something that I've personally wrestled with for a long time, and that is also something that I want to explore on this channel over the next few episodes. But let me just do a little experiment real quick, alright? I want you to look at this super sweet pair of boots. Fun fact, if you don't know me, I'm just a little bit obsessed with boots. Anyway, is it logical for me to say that someone made this boot? I think it looks really good, right? I think it looks really handsome, and I think it looks mwah! Isn't this just the most beautiful pair of boots that you have ever seen? It is easy to just look at it and be like, huh, I guess it looks great, and you just forget about it and just continue on with your day. But if you really stop and think about it, and you break it down, and you will realize that, wait, there are at least about 5 pieces of leather going into making this boot, and you need to get that leather from somewhere or some animal, and you also need the rubber for its sole and the threads to bind them together. So somebody would have to buy all these materials, and somebody would need to come up with a design, and somebody would have to put all these together to form this boot, and then somebody would have to purchase them and bring them to this room on this video to demonstrate to you guys. I mean, I just can't snap my finger and it just magically appears on my hand, right? I mean, it's pretty complex. So it is pretty logical for me to say that somebody somewhere made this. I mean, its existence is an indisputable fact that somebody made this. And it is probably also super logical to say that whoever who bought this and placed it on my hand is someone who has super awesome taste and someone who's probably super good looking. Yeah, I think that's logical. Am I gonna put that part in? Screw it, I'm gonna put that part in. Likewise, if you see a building, then there's a builder. If you see a piece of art, then there's an artist. If you see a beautiful design, then there's a designer. I don't have to meet the builder or the artist or the designer to know that they exist. Another example, the fact that I exist, it means that somewhere at some point of time, a man and a woman got together, something happened, and bam! Here I am. I'm the living evidence, you are the living evidence. I don't have to meet your parents, you don't have to meet my parents. The fact that we both exist, that is all the evidence we need. See, the more complex and intricate something is, the more evidence it has to point to a creator that must be highly intelligent and capable of putting it together. A creation demands a creator. Doesn't matter if it is you or me, or this pair of super sweet boots, or this really powerful machine, or even the universe. So it should be pretty obvious which side of this I am on. But let me just say this before I go. If you want to reject believing in God, first, you have to fully understand the concept of God and who He really is. You just can't reject something that you don't really know. You can't reject something that you haven't really studied about it and you haven't considered all the evidence. But ultimately, I know it is not just a logical question. It is also an emotional question, isn't it? Even if I give you all the logical reasons and the evidence of why God exists, if you truly don't want God to exist, then you won't believe in Him. Because if there is really a God, then we have to be accountable for every single of our actions, and we don't like it. Nobody likes to be judged, and nobody likes to answer to an authority. We all want to be our own gods. We want to do whatever we want and not think about the consequences. If you are an atheist or an agnostic, I want to ask you this question. If God were real, would you believe in Him? If you say yes, then at least you're logical. But if your answer is no, then we know that it is not only about the logical reasoning, it is really the emotional reasons that is preventing you from believing in God. So I want you to be honest with yourself, right? Why don't you believe in God? Now, of course, I don't expect to convince you the existence of God just by one video. I'm definitely gonna explore more on the reasons and the evidence of God's existence in my future videos, and I sincerely hope that as you watch them, you will do so with an open mind and an open heart. And if you don't agree with me, you think that you have better evidence, I want you to leave it down in the comments. Let's have a conversation. I'm always open to new ideas, and if you can convince me of your views, I'll be surprised. And I love surprises. And that is it for today's video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give me one of these. It really encourages me. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to click the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified immediately when I drop a new video. Once again, my name is Evan and I'll see each and every single one of you in my next video. Bam!